All righty, we're back for part three. Well, I tell you right now, you're long-winded, Blake.
Yeah, the unintended part
yeah,
three.
yeah. Well, you know how it is. I'm figuring this a lot easier for you guys because you can tell us, hey, you know, you need to listen to the end of part two, or you need to listen to parts of part three or whatever. You can share it. Now, I want to do one thing too. I know I had some pretty strong words in part two at the end about the city relieving Cody Wood as city recorder. I'm also going to say this here. There's three things I also want to bring up. Number one is we got to remember back just a few years ago where the auditor came in and they found about $16.5 million missing, just screwed up accounting.
Yeah.
So, you know, I want to bring that up as well as one of the reasons. I also want to talk about the fact that when Tim Rhodes was questioning all this stuff back during the when they got that letter from the state, from the new Department of Utility Regulations, and they were told that, hey, everything is hunky-dory, you guys are good. And that's what they told them back when they were looking for raises, and they gave raises.
And then
they come back and then we get this letter and find out that it wasn't all hunky-dory.
Right.
So that there is another thing that he controlled.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you something else, and a lot of people don't know this here, but I may catch some slack over saying, but I'm going to go ahead and say it because I really don't care. The hidden agenda is the hidden agenda. Mayor Wildridge has not been getting his emails. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you what's happened here recently. And let me preface this by saying July 1st, 2025, a new law came into effect. It was passed last year. State legislature put this forward, is they can take and start fining, penalizing cities, municipalities, government, any kind of local governments if they have failed to present their audit in time.
Right. In time limit.
Well, guess what? We got a letter from the comptroller stating, where's your audit? You haven't provided it in the time needed. Yeah. And I know it took Mayor Wildridge a while to get the email, right, because when he got into office, he had nothing. They gave him some old brick laptop that wasn't even connected to the internet. Yeah. And I wouldn't be shocked if somebody's not skirting his emails. Yeah. But that's sad is when our mayor doesn't even have the information to do his job. So, right, you know, these things here add to my decision. And I could probably go by a million other things, by meetings that I've attended. But right, anyway, we're going to move on to the county because we need to get going. I know you guys are tired. Heck, I'm tired. I'm getting old. All righty. Let's jump into the county here. All right. All right. The first thing is the update from the Planning Commission. Okay. Listen, hold on a second. Y'all can see me now. The video's working. I'm going to quote a president. I can put in the adjective there. Read my lips. Zoning.
Yeah, they're pushing.
They're pushing for zoning.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember when all that stuff came up with the
Building inspection.
building inspection program,
This ain't zoning.
no, this ain't zoning. This ain't zoning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew zoning was coming because the conversation was going on behind closed doors.
Right.
Fortunately, we have people behind closed doors that bring us information. Zoning has been one of the pushes.
Yeah.
Now, Tommy Page is over the zoning commission
Or planning commission.
or planning commission.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the chairman or not, but I know he's a representative from the commission. I don't know if Mark, I think Mark White may be.
Oh, yeah.
One of the two is actually over it, is the chairman of it. Regardless. And then let me tell you how I know more information about how adamant that he is about pushing zoning. I am in District 1. I am a citizen up here in District 1. I got a call stating that Tommy Page, who is the commissioner in District 2, had reached out to one of the citizens in my district to put them up to go against one of my commissioners.
Yeah.
And the reason, and I talked to this gentleman, and he confirmed it. And it wasn't just Tommy. There was 2 other commissioners involved. I don't know who they were, but I'm going to dig and find out, and I'll let you know because we'll let you know the hidden agenda. But what Tommy's doing is he wants this man to come up here and vote for building inspection programs, which has not been approved
Right.
by the county.
Right.
It failed
Right.
on a vote,
Or
and
did
only
it?
a no vote can bring it back up.
Right. That's the importance of knowing in the minute.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why you need to know where the votes are in the minutes.
Right.
So, what this is going into is this. Not only that, he wants zoning. Yeah. Well, the candidate that he talked to up there, who is now qualified and running in my district, was not aware of the zoning. Right. He wasn't getting the truth. So I hope you're listening to this podcast, or somebody's listening to it that knows you and is telling you you need to pay attention because you're being whatever the heck you want to call it. The wool's being pulled over your eyes. You're being used.
Right.
But that is absolute. That upset me.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Rightfully so.
Turnabout's fair play.
Right.
Hold on to your hat, Tommy Page.
Yeah.
All right. Bottom line is they brought a couple people up there. Now, one of the things that was said was I talked to a couple of commissioners who actually saw the pictures. One of the people up there, and these people were from my district. And what really upset me is Tommy Page is kind of up there like, well, there's problems in District 1, there's problem in District 2. And what this all boils down to is Whiskey Ridge and Twin Rivers that's down there by Tommy's place.
Yeah.
And what I kept hearing consistently across the board in the conversation last night was, this is going to affect my property values. This is going to affect my property values. They can come in here and build a strip club next door to me, or they could build a Dollar General next to me.
Yeah.
And it affects my property values.
Right.
Well, you know what? Move.
Right.
You know, I don't care what my neighbors do. You know, I mean, within reason.
Right.
You know, I mean, if
one of the things that was brought up, one of the gentlemen was like, well, they could build a strip club next to a church.
Yeah.
You know, the church will have a strip club right next door to it. Or the school, there could be a strip club right next to your kid's school. False. There's already there's Tennessee law on the books. They're called cabarets or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. It's not that they put strip club, but adult dancers and things like that. They can't have it within, I believe it's more than 1,000 feet of it.
Right.
And also, just be honest with you, if somebody ever proposed that, you could only imagine the public pushback down here.
Right.
That would happen.
Exactly.
It would not go well. There was one at one point at exit 126. It's closed, been closed for several years. It's not really going to happen.
Right.
I'm just going to be honest with you. It's just not.
that stuff's more relegated to big cities.
Right. Exactly.
You know, yeah, and I'm like you. To me, that was just a push of fear mongering to try to get
100%.
all good Christians. Y'all need to rally up against this here because this is what's going to happen. This ain't happening.
Right. Well, and my thing with it is though is too, and this is what Tommy said. Well, the state's not going to enforce state law. The state's not going to do this and that. Well, sometimes the county's going to have to give them some information to go in and to enforce. At the end of the day, you're going to have to do some legwork. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, there is limited resources in the government a lot of times, and so you have to do some legwork here locally to give them to go in and enforce. why I pushed back once again on this Whiskey Ridge was, hey, TCA code. We have Southwest Tennessee Regional Development District out here, Regional Planning Commission, excuse me, that oversees subdivisions. And so when you extend utilities, and that's what I asked him, hey, when you extend utilities, is that not, that's the number one telltale sign that you have engaged in subdivision that should make you be brought before the Planning Commission to ensure that there is an adequate road surface for emergency responses.
Right.
And so, and I'm not saying that you got to go out here and you got to pave a road down through here that's, you know what I'm saying, a highway or super highway or anything. Gravel, asphalt, tar and chip, you know what I'm saying? There's all kind of different, regardless though, it's a proper road structure with drainage ditches off of it and enough width that you could run utilities down there to branch off to these people, right? But right now, nothing. And that's why, once again, you have, when there's a fire out there, we send out the Tennessee Department of Forestry to send their fire dozer out there to cut fire breaks, because
it's the only thing that can get back in there.
It's the only thing, from my understanding too. I don't know if it was just Mother Nature or what, but there's a bridge across some creek or something that's now, I don't know if it was washed out, or from what I kind of have been told, which I don't know, it sounds like they dug it out. They went ahead and they didn't want people back there. They don't want people to be able to have access and everything else. And so that's why there's a Facebook page for Whiskey Ridge. You can all go join it and everything else. And one of the main discussions is, hey, what can we do about this road? Let's try to put mud mats for logging and stuff down through here.
They could do no good.
It's going to be a disaster. And while we have now in South Haven and other schools in the county, we have teachers buying kids clothes and shoes and putting up temporary showers and things like that, because the kids come so dirty to school that they're literally staining up the school system from the tile floors and walls and everything. And so they're like, hey, we're going to try to make sure that the school system don't go to crap and everything else. And so we'll give them shoes to change into when they get here, so they don't stain everything up. We'll get you a shower, so once again you can get clean and not stain everything up. And blows my mind that they're having to do that, but it's because you don't have a proper road surface in there at the end of the day.
Right.
And it's why we have a regional planning commission. That's why I don't understand.
That's why the state created the regional planning commissions.
Yes, a long time
ago. And gave them the authority to do these things, but yet they won't do it.
Yes, no. And so this is what's hard when most people don't understand, and why I tried to explain it, but once again, a lot of these people don't want to listen, and for God knows what reason. They oversee the planning. They assist with the planning and make sure it's developed up to this stuff, but they don't have the enforcement power to go out there and drag them in. That's why it's specified in Tennessee code. If I'm not mistaken, on top of my head, the county mayor, the board, the county attorney can go out and file an injunction against this person to where he can't sell another lot until he comes before the board. That's their enforcement mechanism right there. You go out there and put it in the law to where they can't do anything with it. And if you do something with it, we go out and file not only the injunction. Once you have that injunction in place, then you can really start pursuing damages and stuff like that. We make not only prevent them from ever getting a building permit out there, could also barricade maybe the road, and you could also go out there and once again get a judgment against him and start seeking monetary damages for all this. And that's what needs to happen. Instead, we just continue once again, kick the can down the road. They're grandfathered in. We can't do that. The state's not going to do that. We got to have the planning commission come out here. We got to have building inspector program, and that's going to prevent all this stuff from happening.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not going to do anything. You're, once again, just to be very clear, tiny homes, not regulated by it. RVs, campers, not regulated by it. All these things that, once again, they're trying, not regulated by it. The storage building, once again, does not meet IRC. So just to clarify and provide a little information to people, the state of Tennessee has adopted widely across the state, the Tennessee legislature has, IBC and IRC from 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And so that, if you go in and looking at codes, generally, like, I believe it's every 3 to 4 years, they get updated. 2012, there's 2015, 18, and I think there's 21. And so anyways, they update the code with different, things that they believe are, necessary now. And so you as a state or as a legislature body locally can choose to adopt that code, that year code, right? Or you can even make changes to it. Say, hey, we want to do this instead. We don't want to have this. We want to do that. But once again, it seems to me, what frustrates me, everybody wants to use it like a red flag to do something else. We need to use this opportunity to try to push something else, instead of, once again, reaching out to our state enforcement and, hey, we got these problems. Hey, we're seeing all this stuff. For instance, with the sewage, one of them brought up, hey, they're just dumping all this stuff. Once again, that's TDEC's realm. hey, go to TDEC. Tell them you don't have a subsurface sewage disposal permit. You can't do this. Get them to enforce a fine. Get them to enforce an injunction to prevent them from doing it. But we have people that don't want to do anything other than use it as an opportunity to enforce more rules and regulations on you. And so that's why I said I went to the planning. You were there and asked. But once again, the person that pretty much preaches the gospel to the board, which is the Southwest Tennessee Development District person, and he agreed with me.
Right.
You're right. And just for everybody's knowledge too, you can go out there on the internet and search for I believe it's called the white paper for regional planning commissions or for even local planning commissions, and it will pull it up. It's a white paper. It's about 70 pages long, if I'm not mistaken, and it walks you through all of this stuff. Okay, it explains all the different enforcement techniques, what they can do in it, how they can propose regulations. Because once again, the planning commission, they review it, they come up with stuff, they can vote on it, but then all that does is vote it up to the board or the county commission, excuse me, in this case, to review and approve and vote on.
Right.
And so, once again, not doing anything.
All right. And I had a couple of commissioners I've talked with here recently about this stuff here, and they brought up a good point. It sounds like we got a problem with poor people.
Yeah, silver spoons.
So, right. So if anybody can't afford, that's right. If anybody can't afford to live in a nice house,
right,
then we need to get rid of them out of Henderson County. We don't need them here.
Right.
And that would have better metrics too if we look at it that perspective.
Right.
That's about I'll tell you what, up here where I live at, the community I live at, there are a couple of these. I don't know if they're tiny homes or if it's sheds that's been converted or what. I don't have a problem with them. If that's what somebody can afford, at least they're trying to do something.
Right.
Instead of just sitting there, and they're making an effort. So why on earth are we going after people like that? It just makes no damn sense to me.
Yeah, I think some people need to take a step back and be a little more humble about where they are and appreciative for what they have, instead of once again sitting there with the silver spoon saying everybody needs to have this same silver spoon.
Well, that's it.
I mean, that's my problem with it. We have a lot of grand things here in the United States. You know what I'm saying? We're in a lot better. Go to some of these foreign countries, like I said, these third world countries, and see how much we have advanced. You know what I'm saying? And the things that we take for granted a lot of times here, because they don't have not even access to it. You know what I'm saying? And so people want to say that, oh, well, they don't have running water down there. I just want to say, take yourself back 100 years. More than likely, your family member didn't necessarily have running water in their home. They didn't have plumbing fixtures in their home. They were fetching water out of a well with a pail. They were once again out in an outhouse in what's called now a privy here in the state of Tennessee. We've transgressed a long ways, but we don't need to forget where our roots were. And like I said, that some people aren't as fortunate as others here, and we don't need to try to make sure we don't look down upon them.
Well, and you're right. You're right. And it's people should have a choice to be what they want. They shouldn't have to live by what everybody else wants them to be.
Right.
Now,
and if you want something different than that, there is a private mechanism called HOAs, and you can go live in a neighborhood with a HOA covenant that has that. And if your neighbor starts violating it, you can file a lawsuit against them and pursue that claim and enforce those rights if that's what you want.
Right. That's it. Now, I do want to also touch a base about, in this here, there was discussion about septic systems. Let me explain something to you. Now, I've already talked to TDEC about this here. Yeah. Septic systems are not a requirement. You can actually have a pit.
Yep.
Now, there is requirements with the pit. It's got to be X amount of feet away from living quarters.
Yep.
But that's legal here in the state of Tennessee.
Yep.
You're not required to have a septic system.
Yep.
So, you're getting all of this information that is not true.
Yep.
And if you don't have to believe me, we've actually shared this stuff before.
Yep.
And you know what? You can go back and look at it or do the research yourself. You don't have to trust us if you don't trust us.
Right.
We have nothing to gain by telling you something that's not true.
Right.
We're just trying to educate you on what's going on and how these things are happening.
Yeah. And if you could prove that we're not right, please do. And I promise you we'll go back out and correct our statements. Like I said, we have I have no problem whatsoever admitting I'm wrong, and if you can prove that I'm wrong whatsoever.
No,
none whatsoever.
We take the time to take and research and study stuff.
Yeah.
That's you do so more so than I am in your profession. But I'm going to pop in. We got some comments and questions coming up in here.
Okay.
Most time it's just people with money and power trying to step on people without much money. And you're right. That's exactly what the situation is here. What about the people who bought the lots that live there? Are you going to barricade them so their dirty kids can't get to school? No, I think you misunderstood the context of what Blake was saying there. Right. He's saying this is how you correct the issues, right. Because at the end of the day, you got to remember something here. These people buying these lots are probably, I'm going to say 99.9% of them are financing through that timber company.
Right, rent to own.
It's a rent to own deal. Yeah. That's how they're doing these things here. Yeah. So those people there
technically don't own the lot.
They don't own the lot, right. Which is another bad problem there.
Right. It's another huge issue.
Yeah, it's another issue. Yeah, exactly. That's another issue.
It's a multifaceted thing.
Right, and there's so much depth to this conversation that's just not being had. Right. It's just, let's just shove them out. Yeah. No, in that scenario there of the barricading, what that is a last-ditch effort that can come back in here that the law enforcement, that the government can use to get this issue corrected. Right. Bottom line is those people there that own that land, they don't want to lose that revenue. Right. So they're going to do whatever it's going to take to continue that revenue.
Right. And just to be honest with you, you're talking about barricading or you can't go out there right now since it's rained just a little bit and we ain't got a whole lot of rain, and I guarantee you can't make it down that road. I don't care what kind of 4x4 vehicle you have. It is so slick, red clay topped on the top of it. You will be in a tree before you know it. That's the reason why our brush truck from the fire department cannot make it down this road, and we have to send out the Tennessee Department of Forestry.
With the bulldozer.
Yes, it is that bad. And that's why, like I said, if you go on their Facebook page, there's all kind of discussion about what are we going to do about this road? What can we do about this road? What are we going to do with that? That shouldn't be their problem. That should have been the developer's problem when they decided that they were going to take a logging road and subdivide tracks off of it. And yes, this should have been taken care of a long time ago before we got this many people out there.
It should have been done before we ever had a planning commission.
It should have been nipped in the butt right off the rip when somebody noticed that this was what was going on. But instead, we had a lot of people that, like I said, in what appears to try to use it as a false flag narrative to push for zoning and this building inspection program.
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the planning commission. I'm going to tell you right now, I expect that this is going to be. No. We're not hearing the end of these building inspection programs, and we certainly are not hearing the end of zoning. Right. You need to make sure that when you're up here at election time, that you're asking the commissioners that are running in your district
and the mayor
where they stand on zoning, where they stand on these building inspection programs.
100%.
Ask the questions because and if they're willing to come on our show, we'll damn sure ask those questions.
Right.
Because zoning is a major issue. All right, we spent 24 minutes on the first thing, so we're going to move on to the next
on our time.
Yeah. Okay, financial policies was about the Financial Excellence Award and all that.
Grandstanding.
Grandstanding. Yeah, that's what it was. It was grandstanding. And I'm going to tell you right now, something that I'm going to say right this moment. To every Henderson County government employee that got out and worked in this storm that we had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let me just add on to that real quick. So they wanted to, at this meeting, they thanked, who do we thank? We thank the police department or the sheriff's department. We thanked.
No, hold on a second. No. Then that one there was overlooked. The mayor hadn't even said something. Yeah.
Tanya Stegoff, I'm not mistaken, brought that up at the very end, right? And then there was the EMA. He talked about how they did so great with the warming centers and everything else. And it wasn't until the very, very end that the EMA director brought up, well, hey, Henderson County Homeless Coalition did a lot with this. Just so everybody knows, Henderson County Homeless Coalition had to pretty much pry him to open this up. Right. They had been reaching out to him days, if not a week plus in advance when they seen this weather come. Hey, we need to make sure this is up. We need to make sure this is up and running for people. We need to make sure this. We'll staff it. We need to know though this is going to be open because we got to get staff people over here to do this. They staffed it. They got food ready for everybody. They did the whole nine. And it sounds like we did the same thing in Sardis and Scotts Hill, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And so kudos to all the people that, like I said, went out there.
The volunteers.
Their time, right, yes, and to make sure these places were open for people to come to.
And I'm going to say a special thank you to Steve Vineyard and the Henderson County Road Department because I'm going to tell you right now,
there's a lot of miles out there.
Yes, they were. Those guys really went above and beyond.
Yeah,
and if it wasn't for Steve walking out at the very end of the meeting, that wouldn't have been addressed.
And that wasn't addressed. He walked out because they never even said anything.
Right, and then they made a comment after.
Yes, and that
was very disrespectful.
Yes, unfortunate and disrespectful, because that, like I said, should have never happened. If you're going to thank everybody from the fire department to the sheriff's department to the EMA and everybody else in between, the people that were out there day and night plowing these roads, and very tough road conditions. This was not just snow. This was ice, and it was hard. It got packed in very, very hard. It was very rough, especially in places that, like in the county, we got a lot of shade on our roads. It's not like it's in the city where you got a lot of sunshine that hits it and everything else melts, or you got a lot of assistance from TDOT, because a lot of these are state highways that you don't necessarily have a lot in the county on these county roads. And so, like I said, kudos to them for doing all that. Thank you, Steve. You did a
yeah, Steve. And and I'm going to say this here. I'm going to add this here in. A lot of times we've got a lot of trees up. There's sections. I mean, roads over here. Mount Gilead Road.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trees right on the edge.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times during windstorms, heavy rains, that we've got branches and stuff falling in there. Yeah. Steve gets out there and gets these stuff done. There's a lot of times that Steve goes out there and does this stuff on his own. And I'll say this here. I mean, I know him and his brother Kenneth runs a pawn shop over there. Yeah. I've talked to him about it in the past. I mean, those guys will go out there 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning with chainsaws cutting up trees.
Yep.
And they don't call anybody in. No. And I think that's a wonderful thing. So, and Kenneth, I know, is a fire chief. So thank you guys for what you do.
Yeah.
And like I said, everybody who had a part in this storm working out there, employees, volunteers, and not just in the county, but in the city and all the cities in our county.
Yeah.
And pretty much all of us, anybody that had a part in it. State workers, it don't matter.
Right.
Thank you guys for what you do.
Yep.
I mean, that was just...
People got out there on tractors, the whole nine, and were clearing roads. People were out there with chainsaws themselves clearing roads. I mean, the whole... It takes a community when you have a widespread issue like this, and that's why I want to see more of. At the end of the day, that's what we need to make us function at a great level, and not also cost everybody a ton of money. At the end of the day, it is very much, we don't have an endless budget. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
And we have to have help. And so, like I said, when we have people that step up in the community and bring that help, it goes a long, long ways to resolving these issues. And so thank y'all, everybody, for doing that.
Yeah, we certainly do. Thank you. All righty, let's get back in here. We're dealing budget adoption calendar, monitoring stuff. What's getting ready to happen here? I didn't catch a lot of what was going on in these conversations, because they really just... There was no detail to it.
Yeah.
It just kind of was a breeze through.
Yeah.
We are coming into budget season, and it was mentioned that the budget's they're gonna start working on the budgets.
Yeah.
So that's what we're coming in here. These, like I said, a lot of stuff in here that just kind of, I don't know how to say this here. There was just no depth to the conversation. I mean, it was, so a lot of the stuff here we're kind of skipping over. There was supposed to be an audit committee meeting at 5:45, which never took place.
Right. And
I'm seeing here an audit committee policy. When did the audit committee ever meet about it?
Right.
I mean, when we're starting to look at these things here. Now let's get back in here. Like I said, some of this stuff here looks like I'm jumping over, but we're going to get in this conversation as we're moving along.
Right.
Community development block grant up here in Parker's Crossroads for the county fire department.
Yeah.
Now I know they've tried this here a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's for a hazmat truck to cover I-40 for hazardous material spills.
Right.
They're trying for it. So the city of Parker's Crossroads is actually giving the fire station their community development block grant.
Right.
And then the county will have to, the county fire department will have to do a match in there.
Right.
I don't remember what the dollar amount was, what Cody said. But,
I don't remember what it was either, to be honest with you.
But, there'll be a small dollar amount, and they'll get a new hazmat truck out of it.
Right.
Just something that's needed for use on the interstate.
Right.
The Resolution Station 1.
I believe that was for grants. If I'm not mistaken, I say grants. I believe they've obtained some donations and stuff like that for the building of that new station. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I believe that's what that was for. And if I'm not mistaken, there was another grant that they were trying to apply for something, but they didn't get completed with one of the trucks or something in time.
Right.
And so because they didn't get completed with, they thought it was going to be done by the end of this month, and because they didn't get it done in time, it's going to be another month or two. We can't apply for this other grant, if I'm not mistaken, is what they talked about at that time.
Yeah. All right.
And so that one got pushed off for a little bit.
I'm reading off of this agenda. The highway department annual road list. I don't remember Steve getting up there talking about the roads, the road
did.
list.
No, he never did.
Yeah, I mean, so, a lot of this stuff here that's on this agenda,
Yeah.
and which doesn't make sense because when you're on a special
Called meeting, which is supposed to be very limited.
you got to be you're very limited. You have to stick with what's going on here,
Right.
which
This almost looked like a general meeting. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you look at all the stuff that's on here, and a lot of this stuff should have been in a general call meeting, not a special called session.
right. And one of the things I really don't see up here, I don't know where they. There was a big thing about OSHA changes,
Yes.
but I don't see that on the agenda itself.
Right. But that was talked about. By say updating the policy for.
Right, yeah, but that was talked about. So, I mean, again, the Henderson County Safety Plan, the only thing I really gathered in there from the safety plan was what Steve brought up about it. And I think, what he was talking about, there's been some changes in how reporting goes. I think,
The timeline for it.
the timing had changed. If there's if you get a limb cut off or lose an eye or something like that, they got to report it in a shorter time than they had to in the past.
That's correct.
But that's pretty much what it is about reporting issues from occupational safety and health.
Yeah. And the next one's a good one. Discuss the relocation of UT Ag to Old Health Department.
Now, before we get into that,
Something else you want to bring out?
yeah, I want to kind of hit these other things first.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do the UTAG thing. Heck with it.
Okay.
The other ones are kind of simple. All righty. Let me tell you what's going on here. Now, I don't know if you guys remember. About 3 years ago, I got a call to go out to the
Current health department.
the previous health department, the one that's over there by AutoZone, by the distribution center.
Yeah.
Okay, so I go out there and I do a video and I walk through the place, and it's in bad shape.
And built in the 80s. Not that old of a
Yeah,
building.
not that old of a building. Yeah, it was built in the 80s.
Yeah,
And
terrible shape.
It's in terrible shape. Lack of maintenance. Go
None.
figure.
Let's just go ahead and call it what it is.
No maintenance. It's Henderson County.
Yeah.
So this building, I mean, there was mold all over the place.
Roof system
Roof system was failing. There's leaks in plumbing. I mean, just all kind of issues here. And fortunately, we got a new health department. But now we got this
multi-million-dollar building.
Yeah, right. And which I think all we had was our only match on that grant was land.
Yes.
Was a land match.
Yeah.
Now, who knows how much we paid for the land?
Right.
That's a $1 million question. I like to know about. But let's get back into this thing here. So this health department building is in bad shape.
Yeah.
Now, Brian White, the UT Ag extension agent, comes up there and has expressed an interest in it.
Yeah.
Now, so they have voted to approve if he wants to go in there. Or let me rephrase this here.
Yeah.
If he wants, since I don't know exactly how it was phrased, but it's something about we approved that you have an interest in it. So I guess what they're saying is if you want to be the first dibs at it, then you got first dibs at it.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand how they were going to language on that thing.
So
there.
we come up there with essentially overview of what the building currently shaped is, and then I guess Mark White's put together something about what it could potentially. Essentially, it's a balloon building where you can change out the walls on the interior because they're non-load bearing. And also that like you were talking about, there's some leaky pipes and some sewer issues, and so we're gonna cap some of this stuff off, move this and move that, whatever. Well, the main question that got brought up was, okay,
how much is it gonna cost?
How much is it gonna cost, and what all has to be fixed? Guys, we know there's problems, but what is and who's going to pay for it? Or is UT Ag going to pay for it? They're going to get the building in the shape it is, or is the county going to be responsible for making these repairs ahead of time and then giving it to them to do their remodel? You know what I'm saying? Is it going to be just the main repairs? We're going to cap off some of the sewer that's leaking or whatever, and then we're going to take and replace the roof? Or are we going to do any mitigation work? Because people have to understand getting rid of mold's not just, you go up there and a lot of people think you just spray bleach on mold and it goes away. That is not at all how that works whatsoever. You need to get a hygienist in there. You have to follow a protocol that's specified by them. You have to do all kind of testing with them to ensure that this has been...
If it's done correctly.
That is the protocol to do it correctly.
If we do it correctly.
I've done this and been a part of it. That is the protocol. If you think you know what you're doing and you're not a hygienist, best of luck to you. You don't know what you're talking about most of the time. I'm not being rude. That is a fact. They are trained and specialized into doing that, and they know how to test for it to see what's there and what you need to do to remove it and what steps you can take to remove it. And it is not cheap. Mitigation work is very expensive. And so no talk, no guess, no nothing about it. Just, hey, sounds great. We'll prove it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So just kind of give some clarifying. Right now, UT Ag is at an older home that is right next to the tennis courts by Lexington High School.
Right. What used to be the old school board building.
Correct. And it needs some love too. I'm not saying it don't. Like I said, they've got a failing walkway outside. Probably cost you $2,000 to fix, not much. And there's 3 fuse boxes or 3 old breaker boxes in the back. One of them is a fuse box, old fuse. Regardless, that's, and it's not, they've outgrown their space. Just so everybody knows, the 4-H ag department, it's grown. We've got a very successful program here. There's a lot of people involved in it. And so they need more space. And that's one of the things they're talking about is they need more space to hold meetings, to hold training programs, to do testing and things like that. And so I'm sympathetic and understanding of that. But I don't want to just give you a building, like I said, and also take on maybe the responsibility of doing all this mitigation work and corrections that needed to the tune of who knows how many. Millions. Is it millions? Is it hundreds and hundreds of thousands? Or are we just giving it to them and they're responsible for it? That's why, once again, before you vote on something, you need to clearly understand what it is that's going to take place and who is going to be the party responsible for bearing the cost and do the work for it. And so, like I said, that's what it kind of blew my mind. A lot of people see me shaking my head in my building because it seems like we have a lot of people that have no understanding of a lot of these things.
And and you're right there, and that's our problem is we still continue to not do maintenance.
Yeah.
Even though it's been pointed out, we've been pointing this here out for years with the school systems and how bad they are. Our maintenance is not where it needs to be.
Right.
It's just not happening.
Right.
And what happens there is when you don't maintenance something, eventually it's going to fail and you got to replace it.
Right.
And we're getting to that point on a lot of stuff because we're not maintaining it.
Right. Well, and then so this is around the time this got interjected too, Brown Shoe Building. Remember, all of a sudden it got kind of just briefly mentioned that it's in the same shape. It's got a problem with it. Then the mayor's got a plan for it.
Yeah,
but he's not really. Remember, we'll talk about it on the hidden agenda because it's not been brought out to the public.
It's been brought out to the public.
Yeah, but from what we've been told and from what we've gathered, it sounds like he wants to go on ahead and tear that joker down. Yep. Not try to find someone to fill it because we bought it for not God knows what reason. But he wants to essentially. So right now, just so everybody understands, UT Ag uses it some. Southwest Tennessee Development District uses it some. At one point, it was an election commission office, and then
it's Family Justice Center now.
Family Justice Center's in there, as well as Southwest Tennessee. Not Development District. It's the no, it is the Development District that does the bus. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so, a couple places use it. He wants to move them out somewhere else and just tear it down.
Well, and let's go back in here and look at something here. I don't see where that building's that bad a shape. And I'm going to go back to...
According to him with the health department, the bones are good.
Well,
remember? I don't know why the bones aren't good here.
Well, and this is where the issue is. It's like everything else. It's got some roof issues.
Yeah.
Going back to the tail end of Eddie Bray's term, this was probably July, August when he was leaving out. Eddie rented the building to AutoZone, and there was a leak in one spot of the roof.
Right.
AutoZone was aware of it because they had leased it before, and they needed to lease it again. Now, if they're storing their inventory in there, they're not going to store it in a building that's leaking water all over the place.
Right.
So if
it's in danger of falling down.
Right. So they knew that there was one section, and they just didn't use that section, so they used the rest of it, and we made money off of it.
Right.
And
got some use out of it.
Got some use out of it.
Yeah.
But if it was that...
And have use out of it right now with these other people that are using it.
Right. Yeah. But, if it was that bad at that point in time frame, it wasn't that bad at the point in time frame, why didn't we do anything? Now, this was the incoming mayor who could have done something about it, but didn't.
Right.
And I just don't believe it's in that bad a shape.
Right.
Because and this is my thing too, we moved the election commission out of there. Because apparently there was... a couple pictures showing of some old. I think we've got the picture somewhere. I'd have to dig back through. But here we are. We moved the election commission to the building they're into now.
Right.
This costing us a lot of money to rent every month.
Yep.
So we're paying for a rental, which if we go back in here, we could do some other searching on here with the hidden agenda, but we're going to leave that for right this moment. But in regards to that building. But we're looking at right now is if the building was so bad that we had to move the election commission out of it, and why do we have the Family Justice Center in there if it was that bad that we couldn't hold that election commission anymore?
Right.
That don't make any sense to me.
No, it does not.
None whatsoever. So, that's one of the things here, but what we're being told is I'm hearing on the background again, when you got people all over the place
Right.
that's involved in things, that see things and they question it,
Yep.
generally get a phone call.
Right.
Can you share this information, or this is what I'm hearing? Let you know what's going on, and you learn to trust what sources you can trust and what you can't. Right. Anyway, bottom line is with this here is what we're being told is the mayor is wanting to tear it down, which makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Right.
Sell it. If you don't want it, sell it.
Right. Dispose of it. Surplus property.
That's right.
Yep.
Dispose of a surplus property and let somebody buy it and then put it back on the tax rolls.
100%. But that's what he said. I got an idea to get it back on the tax roll. Remember, that's what the mayor mentioned. Right. Mayor's got this idea.
The mayor's got the idea.
Yeah, nobody else is.
Right. Nobody else is privy to it, supposedly. Right. But apparently what he wants to do here is tear it down and build townhomes.
Yeah.
Now, are we going to have to fund tearing it down? Because that's going to be an expensive venture.
We're going to have to fund building townhomes? Or we're going to stub out utilities?
Yeah. I mean, who's going to do all that work? Who's paying for that?
It's all parking lot right now. It ain't like you're just digging in vacant ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to end up being a chore to run utilities.
Yep.
I mean, if I had to guess, too, knowing how old the building is, there's probably going to be an asbestos issue of some sort. You know what I'm saying? That's going to come about. There's probably going to be other issues that we're going to have to deal with disposing this building. Where are we going to dispose it at that we're going to, last time I checked, going to the dump was pretty high. And that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of weight. Yeah. That's a lot to move.
A lot of weight.
Yes. And so what are we going to do?
Yeah, that's it. So, and I'm going to say this here. I'm not opposed to the UTA getting into a different building. But going into a building where we're going to have to spend, and I'm going to say this here regarding that. The library grant was what 1.2 million?
I think that sounds right.
And I don't think the library was nowhere near in as bad a shape as that health department. No. So I'm expecting $1.5 million, $2 million minimum. Yeah. That's just, and the library is not having a lot of structural repair done. No. They're just having the footprint change, I guess we could say. Right. So if that's in and around about 1.2 million, I think there's some expansion there as well. Right. But I would think that we're probably looking at $1.5 million to $2 million to renovate that building. Right. Sell it. Yeah. Guess what happens when you sell it? You get it back on the tax rolls. Yeah. We're starting to generate revenue from it. Right. And then look at other things that we've got, other assets. Maybe get with the city and see what they've got that they may be willing to sell.
This is what I mentioned, and I don't know if I mentioned it to you or not. Once again, a little cluster. We'll kind of get a little sidebar here, probably. But the TCAT building, the current TCAT, not the new one, right? They're moving out there to co-op, and so this is one of the tricky issues. So just to kind of reel this out, sidebar, the new TCAT building, right? In order for them to build out there on the grant, part of it, the stipulation was that we had to give them that land. So we bought that land and gave it to them. Part of it was, though, is we were supposed to, in return, receive the old TCAT building, right?
I think the city's the one who's supposed to receive that.
That's correct, not the county, the city. Right. And like I said, but just a sidebar. So they have no contract, no deed whatsoever, anything showing that. And so will the state give them that? I don't know. It's to be determined if the state will end up giving them that TCAT building and that land or not. But what I mentioned was, it needs repair. It needs some love. It's got issues.
Yeah, that's probably in worse shape than the health department.
I don't know how bad it is. I mean, it's currently operated out of, so I mean, you would think it's not bad enough that they're just.
Well, I'd have to go back through and dig. I got them somewhere around here. I've got videos that's sent to me by students
of it leaking.
And pouring. It leaking. I mean, water running into floors. Right. So yeah, it needs work.
No doubt. These flat roof systems, though, normally repairing them, it's not rocket science. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said I struggle with some of them times. Like, guys, why don't we have somebody that's a maintenance guy that understands some of these flat roofing systems that can get out there and repair them? Because at the end of the day, a lot of them don't need just a complete whole new roof put on them. They got a few holes here and there, or a few tears in some seams that need replaced. And so we can do some patchwork on them to, once again, weld on patches or glue down patches and remove that leak source. And that is a big footprint. That's got big bay doors and everything else. It may be more conducive for, once again, UT Ag, you know what I'm saying, and also the city. Maybe we could do a cost share agreement, you know what I'm saying, because the city, and that's where my mind is. We bring one thing back online for private use, right? So if we sell the health department to maybe some other small primary clinic, or, you know what I'm saying, something like that, because it's somewhat set up for that now, right?
Right.
And we consolidate, work together, do a cost share initiative where, hey, we got a bigger footprint. Obviously, it needs some work, but we're not all spending out of our own silo for just one building at a time. We're working together, and it's a big footprint that, like I said, somewhat set up for, in my mind, more conducive to UT Ag, who, hey, you want to have training on pesticide application? We can bring a sprayer out here, you know what I'm saying, and show you how all this functions and everything else. We can bring it in. It's got big bay doors inside. We can show you different chemicals. We can show you different seeds. We can do testing on that. All these things that, like I said, I'm not sure the health department.
It would be better suited for what they're needing it for.
In my mind, like I said, and that's why I would want to talk to them to understand what your needs are and everything else, and see if it's more conducive. And like I said, if we can do something that in turn would be cheaper in the long run.
And you know, and that building's huge.
It's massive.
It is huge.
Yeah.
And if you're right. If there's a cost share, let's sit here and take a look at this here.
Yeah.
If the city ends up with it,
it's way bigger than what City Hall needs.
Right. And the city, I mean,
way bigger.
So, and if the city sells the City Hall building, there's money again that comes back in. It's revenue generated.
Right.
That goes back on the tax rolls. If the county sells the health department, and if they do a joint, I don't know how in the heck you do a joint ownership in that thing, how you would go about it, but there's got to be a way to do it.
Right.
And if they came back in here and they did this here and sold these buildings that they're not going to use anymore, well, that's revenue that you bring in.
100%.
That you can use to do the repair work on this here.
Right.
First of all, they're going to have to get a deed coming back in from the state.
Right. That's step one.
Yeah.
That's step one.
But knowing them, they'll go in there and start tearing stuff out and spending $2 million on it, and then, well, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, that's our building.
That's our building. Thanks for fixing it.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah. That's but I mean, that's some common sense.
Right.
Let me take in. Let's get in here because I know we're getting we're damn near 3 hours and 3 meetings.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Yeah, THP building was next. There's just some renovations going on there with flooring. They're gonna put some mats down so people don't rest it up with the chairs and yada yada. They approved that.
Right. Yeah. The Sardis Senior Center is getting a emergency generator,
and it's a match.
It's a matching. Yeah, it's not a matching grant. It's a match. The county's matching what Sardis is putting in there.
They're cooperating.
They're cooperating. Yeah. Just like we're talking about with the city.
Cost share.
Yeah, that's right, because Sardis is a city.
Yeah.
So, and what's happening here is they're working this here together because the Senior Center acted as a warming center.
Yeah.
So yes. It's a smart move. It was like $7,000, $7,200 somewhere in there.
Yeah, I believe the generator total was around $14,000 or $15,000.
Yeah, and they split it in two. So yeah, it wasn't that expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is one. I don't have a problem with it if it's something that's needed.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit confused on some things here.
Right.
This is what they call a tilting skillet for food preparation at the sheriff's department. All right. I'm not upset about the sheriff needing this here. That's not where my concerns are. Some of the things that I didn't quite understand is I've always thought we had a food service agreement with an outside source.
Right.
Well, apparently they're using our facilities to, and then I also heard that inmates are preparing food.
That's what I
said last night.
I heard that too, and I just want to make sure I wasn't losing my mind.
And I'm just like, okay, well, who's doing the work? And then we hear that we have a food service group doing it. Okay, well, can somebody give me a straightforward answer to how this thing works?
Yeah. Is the inmates cooking, or is the food service group cooking, or is there someone else in the jail that's like a paid employee that's cooking, or how does it work?
Yeah, just be honest and tell us what it is.
Right.
But that's not what upset me here, and I'm going to tell you what upset me.
Yeah, over the budget limit.
Exactly. Now let's come back in here, and this is something that we're going to bring back up on these other two here.
Yeah.
On the senior center, Jack,
THP.
yeah, but on the senior center, Jack Johnson questioned, why can't we purchase this generator from somebody inside of the county?
Right.
So we're keeping the business local. He brought up Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
And what ended up coming in discussion here is, number one is this Sardis Senior Center is the one who's doing this here.
Right.
We're just helping them with money.
Right. They're the ones overseeing the
Right.
operation.
And apparently they've already got, somewhere down in Sardis, they've already got other
On the water
generators.
treatment facility.
Yeah, and they're already using Lindsay Electric for their service. So that's the reason they wanted to keep with it.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's kind of how that went about. The other thing was, you know, with the THP, with the flooring, $14,000. Now remember this here, and let me say this here, Jack. You know, what it was told to Jack was, well, we're using somebody local.
Right.
Okay, but we got multiple flooring companies in Lexington.
Right. Well, not
Well,
only
how
that,
do we choose the one that we got
right.
if there was no bid?
That's exactly it. Not only that, we didn't have multiple bids, and that's my,
Right.
my thing at the end of the day.
But they don't need a bid.
Right, because it's under the threshold. It's
Right.
under the $25,000. But
Right.
regardless, if you're doing just about anything, even personally, you know what I'm saying? I tell this to everybody that's doing anything at their home. You want to get a roof put on your home, you want to get a new air conditioner. The best thing you can do, I know you have friends that do it and everything else, and I'm not saying they might not give you the best deal, but I like to trust but verify. And so when
Right.
I say that, I mean I'd like to have multiple bids. I want
Right.
to have 3 bids for a comparable unit and see if, hey, you're doing what you say you are. You know what I'm saying? Because you may find out that there's somebody that's going to give you a comparable one for half the the price.
You don't know until you ask.
You really don't.
But you need to check into it.
Right.
And I'm going to say this here. I'd be willing to bet money there's probably some politics involved in this here.
Right. Friends, family.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Eh,
The hidden agenda somewhere up here.
Yeah. But it boils down to, though, is, too, it's not your money that you're spending.
Right.
You're a steward of public funds. And so, as a steward of public funds, you need to make sure you're doing everything that you can to spend them as wisely as possible and obtain the maximum value for the dollar that you spend. And the best way to do that most of the time is to get multiple bids.
That's it.
And it's
That's
not
it.
hard. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I got this project out here. It's this amount of square feet. It's this and that. I need 20 different mats. You know, you got this many square foot of flooring and this. Send it out. Most of the time, you got floor plans of this stuff. You ain't even got to have them come out there and look at it. Just send it to them in a floor plan.
But and now that we've talked about this $25,000 threshold, so what this means is the city has set this here up. So county has set this here up that if they're going to get something that costs up to $25,000,
Yeah.
they don't need to bid it out.
Right.
They just pick who they want to get.
Yep.
So, if it's over $25,000,
Let's get bids.
well, then they got to get bids. But here's the problem with going back to the thing with the sheriff's department,
And
the skillet thing, this tilting skillet. There's no bids
yeah, and a quote of
$28,100
bingo.
over the $25,000 threshold mark,
Right.
and the commission voted to approve that
Right.
without a single bid. Well, what if the bid comes in more? What
Yeah.
if the bid comes in less?
Right.
I mean, hell, if I'm somebody bidding and I'm sitting up here watching the taxpayers page going, damn, you know what? I would have sold that to them for $22,000. And actually somebody in the audience actually pulled up a Tilton skillet online and found one for less than 22. But yeah. Well, shit, I know I can get 28 out of it. Why don't I do it?
Right.
Because they just told me how much they approved for the freaking thing.
Right.
You just undercut the whole point of bidding
Right.
because you just told them, this is what we approved.
Right. That's why you have closed sealed bids. Hey, you have a deadline of this. We want bids for this. You know what I'm saying? You provide enough information for them to submit a bid, and then on this deadline, you go ahead and open them up, and then you.
That's it.
Hey, this is what we got, and you're supposed to once again put that information out there, so it's not just transparent to the board or to the county commissioners, but to the public, because once again, it's public funds.
That's it. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And that's this is where some of the issues lie. Okay, that wraps up what happened in the county meeting. There's some other stuff coming up. But you know what? We're 55 minutes in. This is hour 3. I'm done.
I'm done too. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired.
I'm tired, boss.
I got to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah. Same.
So we're going to shut this thing here down for the night. Tomorrow night, like I said, I'll be back on Parish Rashad over the bring to you guys Frost, the fashion show that's coming up Saturday at the Montgomery Cultural Enrichment Center. So we're looking forward for Parrish coming on tomorrow. So if you guys are tune in, listen to what he's got to say. Maybe you get to see some models. We got models in Lexington, boy. I'll tell you, we're moving on up in the world. Right. Like George and Wheezy.
Right. Opportunity. That's my thing. Like provide an opportunity for people to experience something or to participate in something that they wouldn't otherwise.
It's something we don't see around here.
Right.
I've got to appreciate what he's doing. Is he's bringing us things that we don't see on the average.
Right.
And if y'all haven't looked, we in the country. What the heck's his name? It's not Rhett Akins. What's his boy's name? Thomas Rhett. Is that it?
I'm not sure.
His current country singer, big name. Parrish was in a video with him. Gosh almighty, he called him something. I want to say it was Jake. It's a little commercial clip. It's real funny. I'm pretty sure it's on his page. You ought to go see it. He calls him by a different name in the thing, and I kind of texted him when I saw that and called him that name. Anyway, I think a lot of Parrish. He's a outstanding young man, and he's doing some things for our community that we don't see.
Right.
And if anybody else who wants to come on and get into this here and share stuff, feel free to reach out to me. Messenger 731-307-8408. I've put this down enough times. Just take and reach out to me. Like I said, I'm going to start reaching out to candidates for the election to see if I can get anybody on. At this moment, I know Don Eubank is the only one that signed up, and I believe I need to check it to make sure. I think Don is signed up for the 10th of. Let me see here. Yep, Don's going to be doing March the 10th. So we'll update that in the morning. If anybody else is interested in coming on, definitely reach out to us. I'm going to take. We got a few comments up here.
Probably missing them on the other videos.
Yeah, we may have. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, this is on here.
Not seeing anything.
Yeah, here we go here. Kenny, District 3 commissioners, no, we haven't got anybody there yet. Haven't had anybody else. I know Terry and Todd Beecham are running, and Brian Duke. We're going to reach out to them and offer it up to them if they're interested. Yeah, a $28,000. It's a tilting skillet. Amanda, it's a. Yep, and it is Thomas Ray. Yeah, they showed a picture of it. The picture that was shown looked kind of. I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like it was a picture from like the '60s or something. It's kind of the way it was aged. I mean, it was unique. Yeah. Matter of fact, where I saw the picture at is Commissioner Andy Anderson. If you go on his website, on his Facebook page, and just type out Commissioner Andy Anderson, and go to his Facebook page, he actually shared a packet, and the picture of the tilting skillet is in there, right. with the quote in there as well. Yeah, the current UT Ag building isn't that great either. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's an old house. It's not completely handicap accessible. Yeah, I think we need to be really looking at something that's a
commercial building, not a residential home.
Yeah, I mean, I would even think that the Brown Shoe Building probably would be better suited for that there, because you got an empty footprint.
Right.
Balloon
building that you can fill out however you want.
Yeah, I mean, and just fix the roof. I mean, we wouldn't have a lot of expenditures there.
Right.
And heck, there's three-phase power going into that thing too.
Yeah, and there's three-phase power going to TCAT too.
TCAT. Well, so I mean, heck, there might be some opportunities there. Yeah. I think this thing needs.
I'm not sure I think the TCAT building is a TPO or a Duralast roof. I don't know what the Brown Shoe Building roof system is. I don't know if it's a mod bed or some type of ballasted built up like hot mop building, to be honest with you. One of the TPO is a lot easier generally to repair than the other one.
Okay, I got a message from From Chris McPeak. As far as I know, Chris runs maintenance at the sheriff's department.
Oh. Was it falling apart too? I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
Call me. I will explain the best I can how the jail kitchen works. So tomorrow I'm going to give Chris a call and reach out to him and get some explanation on how the jail kitchen works. I've been there one time, and it's probably been 4 years ago, is what I'm guessing, maybe somewhere close to 4 years ago. I did a tour of the jail. And I just got a brief overview of how it worked. The one thing that kind of stood out to me was those trays they've got. They're real thick. I'm assuming they probably got some kind of foam in there. Because I mean they were really thick, and then of course they got cutouts. It's a tray,
right?
Man, but it's plastic, and I think it's like a foam core in there. Oh man, they had a stack of them that just beat the crap. I can understand that there. You're gonna have to have some. You got to feed people. Anyway, I can understand some of those expenses there. And another thing that really just blew my mind is, and I think we talked about this on Tracy Grisham's Q&A. I went back and I think it's what they call intake when they bring where the prisoners come in at. The chairs in there, holy crap, man, they were in bad shape. I mean, bad shape. Yeah. Duct tape holding them up, and I mean, it's just like, wow, we can afford to get some.
Yeah.
I mean, chairs ain't that expensive.
No.
But, it's one of those things there. It is what it is. But anyway, you got anything else you want to say in parting to the people?
I don't think so. I think we covered about everything that's happened in the I guess last probably almost 3 months in the meetings, really. I say unless there's something we're missing, more than welcome to talk about it with anybody or bring it back up next time we come back on the show. I'm sure we'll be back on again.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you, if we don't start getting, once I start reaching out to people, I haven't had many volunteer. Don's just haven't had a lot volunteer.
Right.
I said, you, Tracy, and Don's the only three that's actually contacted me.
Right.
Some people, I'm sure, are afraid of coming on. It's like Tracy said that he was advised against it and he was advised to do it. Right. We cannot control whether somebody wants to come on this podcast or not. That's totally up to them. But the invitation's out there, and I'm going to try to get more invitations out.
Great way to talk to a lot of different people. Obviously, you're going to reach different people with different things and stuff, but it may be a different sect that you haven't been able to communicate with. And so, any opportunity you get to talk to, and a lot of people, like you said, the page gets a tremendous volume of traffic.
That's it. Yeah. That's it in a nutshell. Like I said, we average about 175,000 different people per week coming across the page. Now, obviously, we're not getting all of Henderson County.
Right.
And, there's a lot more, there's 175,000 is a lot more than what's in Henderson County.
Right.
But we have viewers all across the state with other organizations that are like us that, that do the same thing. They're paying attention the same as I pay attention to other organizations.
Right.
And we've got people in other states who watch us, and we got people all across the country, all across the world that pay attention. Yeah, we're a little small, rinky-dink page, but a lot of people misconstrue our membership
with who can view,
right? Because this is a public
open
access
page.
Yeah. Anybody can view it.
Correct. You don't have to be a member.
You don't have to be a member,
it's
right?
Not behind a firewall of any sort.
And heck, I think in the last probably 6 months we've probably grown. I don't know, probably 700-800, and we're getting ready to hit 6,300 members.
Right.
So it's the membership. A lot of people won't become members, kind of like some of the candidates won't come up here because they fear the backlash from it.
Right.
Because we expose the hidden agenda, and we just get the truth to the people.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate y'all tuning in, because I'm gonna tell you, we still got quite a few viewers, and it is 10:30 at night.
That's incredible.
It is,
and it's way past my bedtime.
Yeah, mine too. Y'all have a great night. Thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow night.